Welcome to today's Explainer. We are tackling the absolute ultimate safeguard for filmmakers, pre-production. Look, if you've ever stepped onto a set, you already know this is the absolute foundation of professional filmmaking. Today, we're looking at how rigorous, meticulous planning before you ever hit record is literally the only way to save your time, your money, and honestly, your creative sanity.
So what actually happens when you shoot without a plan? Well, just imagine it. You've just spent thousands of dollars, you're standing on set, the clock is ticking loudly in the background, and it is just pure chaos. People are scrambling around searching for gear. The director is incredibly stressed out, and your actors, they're just standing there waiting for someone to tell them what to do.
What's kind of fascinating and terrifying is how easily these logistical failures snowball. You arrive on set and suddenly realize, oh no, we forgot to actually secure the location. Or an actor is totally missing an action. Or, classic mistake, the camera batteries are completely dead. Suddenly, scheduling conflicts start multiplying like crazy, and just like that, thousands of hard-earned dollars just evaporate into thin air. It is a costly, painful disaster. But the good news, professionals completely bypass this nightmare through one essential process.
Okay, let's dive into this. Let's look at the macro filmmaking workflow. Obviously, an idea evolves into a screenplay. But before you even think about jumping into production, there is that vital third step, pre-production. It's the absolutely critical bridge between holding a finished script in your hand and actually yelling action on a live set. So, what is it exactly? Pre-production is the phase where abstract ideas become rigorous, practical plans. Think of your screenplay not just as a fun story, but as an architectural blueprint. Pre-production is the exact, almost mathematical process of figuring out exactly how you're going to construct that house before the very first hammer swings. Which brings us right to the core mantra of professional filmmakers. Plan first, shoot second. The primary goal here is brilliantly simple, really. We have to solve problems before they happen on set. We need to know exactly who is in the film, where we are shooting, what equipment is needed, and how much it will all cost, long before a single frame is ever recorded. We break this whole process down into 6 major phases, and it kicks off with step 1, the script breakdown. This is where you really get into the weeds, analyzing the final screenplay scene by scene, and transitioning it from a narrative story into a master logistical checklist. During this breakdown, you are hunting for and identifying every single physical element required to shoot. You're highlighting the characters needed for that specific scene, the props, the locations, wardrobe, sound effects, and any special gear. Everything gets color-coded and itemized, so you can quantify exactly what it takes to bring that one scene to life. Once those elements are completely itemized, we face the inevitable financial reality check: budgeting. Every single project has limited resources, right? Whether it's a massive Hollywood feature or a scrappy indie documentary on YouTube. Careful financial planning is what determines how your creative vision will actually be funded. And where does that money actually go? Well, it drains incredibly quickly into equipment rentals, securing locations, transportation, catering to keep the crew happy, costumes, and of course, salaries. Tracking all these categories early on is quite literally the only thing preventing you from running totally dry halfway through your shoot and having to halt production entirely. With the budget securely set, we move on to step 3, scheduling. Now, as anyone in the industry knows, here's a totally counterintuitive fact. Films are almost never actually shot in chronological story order. Instead, we rely on a much more efficient metric. So, the crucial point is this. You shoot by location, not story order. For example, if your characters are hanging out at a coffee shop in scene 2, and they don't return to that coffee shop until scene 45, you organize the schedule to film both of those scenes on the exact same day. Consolidating company moves like this dramatically cuts down on costs and maximizes your actual time rolling the camera. Step 4 is casting. Now, this goes way beyond just finding talented people. Locking in your actors early dictates your scheduling, your wardrobe budgets, and honestly, the entire emotional authenticity of the project. Finding the right cast completely elevates the film, which makes this one of the absolute highest-stakes decisions you'll make in pre-production. Then comes step 5, location scouting. Finding a place that looks amazing on camera, that's the easy part. Finding a place that practically supports a massive, loud, heavy film crew, much harder.
Filmmakers have to audit a really rigorous checklist for every single potential site. You have to account for the sun's trajectory, distracting noise from nearby highways, where you're getting your power from, accessibility for loading in heavy gear, legal permits, and of course, wildly unpredictable weather. If a location fails these basic practical needs, it doesn't matter how pretty it is, you have to move on.
Finally, we hit step 6, locking in the visual preparation with storyboards and shot lists. This is where the director maps out exactly what the camera will see, panel by careful panel. This guarantees that every single department head totally understands the visual objective before they even set foot on set, completely eliminating on-the-spot guesswork.
And this brilliantly illustrates the staggering return on investment of all this planning. Picture 2 crews with the exact same script and the exact same gear. One crew arrives without doing any pre-production. The actors are late, the batteries die immediately, and they completely lose the daylight. The other crew arrives prepared. Shot lists are already distributed, the gear is hot and ready, and they wrap right on time. The difference between these two scenarios isn't talent, it is entirely about preparation.
Which leads us straight to the golden rule of pre-production. The more decisions you make before production, the fewer problems you'll have to solve during production. There's this huge amateur myth out there that heavy planning restricts your creativity. But the professional reality is that strict logistical planning is exactly what buys you creative freedom. When you aren't stressing out about a missing prop, you are entirely free to focus on the actor's performance.
So, are you ready to turn your screenplay into a flawless production plan? Remember, spending a single day on thoughtful preparation saves days of catastrophic budget-draining problems on set. Great filmmaking isn't about avoiding challenges, it's about anticipating them before they even happen. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stick around for our next one where we take a deep dive into the nitty-gritty of the script breakdown.